Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. The neon lights of Station Omega cast purple shadows across Commander Sarah Chen's face as she nursed her synthetic coffee in the corner of the Starlight Lounge. 20 years of Special Forces operations had taught her to always face the door, always watch the crowd, and never ignore her instincts. Right now, those instincts were screaming. 3 hours earlier, she'd received an anonymous message offering 10 million credits for a simple protection detail. In her 5 years of retirement running security consultations, she'd never seen a sum that large. That meant trouble, and trouble was something Sarah had sworn to avoid after leaving Earth's Special Forces. The lounge's atmosphere shifted as a new patron entered. Sarah's cybernetic eye immediately analyzed the newcomer, a tall, humanoid female with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer between blue and silver. Her movements were too precise, too controlled for a civilian. Diplomatic training, Sarah guessed, but there was fear in those large, opal-colored eyes. The alien woman scanned the room before making direct eye contact with Sarah. Without hesitation, she walked to Sarah's table and sat down. "Commander Chen," the woman said in perfect English, her voice carrying a melodic undertone. "I am Clara, senior diplomat of the Lasarian Collective. Thank you for accepting my invitation." Sarah took another sip of her coffee. "I accepted a message. That's all. Why don't you tell me what kind of trouble has a senior diplomat offering mercenary wages?" Clara glanced nervously over her shoulder. "They're coming for me, Commander. The Shadowers. They've already eliminated 3 members of our diplomatic corps. I'm next, and with me dies the last chance for peace in the Outer Rim." "The Shadowers are a myth," Sarah replied, but her cybernetic eye was already scanning for the telltale signs of their presence: slight distortions in the air, unexpected heat signatures. "They are very real," Clara insisted, placing a small crystal on the table. "This contains proof of their existence, and evidence of their plan to destabilize the entire sector. If they succeed, Earth will be drawn into a war it cannot win." Sarah's organic eye narrowed. "You're playing the Earth card to manipulate me. Why should I believe anything you're saying?" The air behind Clara shimmered. Sarah's enhanced reflexes kicked in before her conscious mind registered the threat. She vaulted over the table, tackling Clara to the ground as a silent energy beam sliced through the space where the diplomat had been sitting. The lounge erupted into chaos. Patrons screamed and ran for the exits as 3 shimming figures materialized, their adaptive camouflage failing under the strain of rapid movement. Their armor was sleek, black, and covered in light-absorbing panels. "Shadowers. Stay down," Sarah ordered, drawing her pulse pistol from its concealed holster. The weapon was illegal in 12 systems, but right now, she was grateful for its stopping power. The first Shadower moved with inhuman speed, but Sarah had fought faster. She rolled to her right, firing 3 rapid shots. The pulse round splashed against the assassins' shields, but the electromagnetic discharge scrambled their camouflage systems. "The doors!" Clara shouted as heavy blast shields began descending over the lounge's exits. Sarah cursed in Mandarin. They weren't just trying to kill Clara, they were trying to eliminate all witnesses. Her cybernetic eye calculated trajectories, shield strengths, and weak points as she pushed Clara behind an overturned table. "When I say run, head for the kitchen," Sarah commanded, reaching into her jacket for a small silver sphere. "Don't stop, don't look back." The Shadowers moved in perfect coordination, their weapons charging with an ominous hum. Sarah waited until they were in position, then smiled. They were good, but they'd made one critical mistake: they'd assumed she was alone. "Now!" Sarah hurled the sphere into the air and triggered her neural link. The device exploded in a blast of electromagnetic energy, temporarily overloading the assassin's advanced systems. Clara sprinted for the kitchen as Sarah engaged the confused Shadowers. Years of augmented combat training took over. Sarah moved like water, each strike precise and devastating. Her pulse pistol found gaps in their armor, and when they closed to melee range, her monomolecular blade made short work of their protective gear. The fight lasted less than 30 seconds. 3 shadowers lay unconscious or dead, and Sarah had only suffered a minor burn on her left arm. She found Clara in the kitchen, hiding behind a massive food processor. "They'll send more," Clara said, her iridescent skin pale with fear. "They always do." Sarah checked her weapons and activated her emergency protocols. Throughout the station, small devices she'd planted over the past year came to life, creating false trails and sensor ghosts. "My ship is docked in Bay 7. We need to move fast." "You'll help me then?" Clara asked as they moved through the kitchen's service corridors. "You were right about one thing," Sarah replied, her cybernetic eye scanning for threats. "If the shadowers are real, this goes way beyond a simple protection contract. Earth needs to know what's coming." They reached Bay 7 without incident, another bad sign. Sarah's ship, the Nightshade, looked like a standard light freighter, but appearances were deceiving. The vessel housed enough modifications to make it faster than a military interceptor and better armed than most corvettes. As they approached the ship, Sarah's neural implants screamed a warning. She spun around, pushing Clara behind her as 6 more shadowers decloaked, weapons raised. Commander Sarah Chen, one of them spoke, voice distorted by their combat systems. "Step away from the Diplomat. This is not your fight." Sarah's organic eye narrowed as her cybernetic one mapped out possible scenarios. The odds weren't good, but she'd faced worse. "You made it my fight when you tried to kill everyone in that lounge. Last chance to walk away." The Shadower's response came in the form of plasma fire. Sarah activated her experimental shield generator, another piece of illegal tech that had saved her life more times than she could count. The energy bolt splashed harmlessly against the barrier as she returned fire. Clara proved she was more than a simple diplomat, producing a small device that created localized gravity distortions. Between Sarah's enhanced combat abilities and Clara's technology, they fought their way to the Nightshade's boarding ramp. "Get to the bridge and start the engines," Sarah commanded as they rushed inside. She sealed the airlock and ran to the weapons station, activating the ship's defense systems. The Shadowers were trying to hack their way in, but Sarah's security was designed to keep out the best slicers in known space. The Nightshade's engines roared to life as Sarah reached the bridge. Clara had already plotted a course out of the station. Alarms blared as more Shadower ships appeared on their sensors. "They're blocking all legal exit vectors," Clara reported. Sarah strapped into the pilot's seat, a predatory grin spreading across her face. "Who said anything about legal?" She engaged the Nightshade's main drive and aimed straight for the station's maintenance section. "Hold on tight, Diplomat. Things are about to get interesting." The ship shot forward, weaving through a maze of service corridors never meant for vessel traffic. Sarah's augmented reflexes and the ship's advanced systems worked in perfect harmony, staying just ahead of their pursuers. They burst out of the station through a maintenance airlock, shields screaming as they absorbed debris. "That's impossible," Clara exclaimed as they accelerated away from the station. "No human could pilot through that." "Impossible is what we humans do best," Sarah replied, plotting a course into deep space. "Now, why don't you tell me exactly what's on that crystal, and why the Shadowers want you dead so badly?" As Station Omega shrank behind them, Sarah knew her quiet retirement was over. Something big was coming, something that threatened both humanity and the peaceful species of the galaxy. The soldier in her dreaded the coming conflict, but a small part of her welcomed it. After all, impossible odds were humanity's specialty. The Nightshade cruised through hyperspace, its advanced engines humming with barely contained power. In the ship's small medical bay, Sarah cleaned and bandaged her plasma burn while Clara studied her with undisguised fascination. "Your cybernetics," the Diplomat said, gesturing to Sarah's glowing eye. "I've never seen anything like them. Our intelligence suggested humans were centuries behind such technology." Sarah secured the bandage and rolled down her sleeve. "That's because officially, we are. Unofficially." She tapped her temple where the neural interface connected. "Earth's been preparing for war longer than anyone realizes." Clara's iridescent skin rippled with concern. Then you understand why I had to seek human help. The crystal contains proof of something terrible. She withdrew the small data storage device from her robes. The Shadowers aren't just assassins, they're the enforcement arm of something much bigger. Sarah led them to the ship's secure briefing room. The crystal interfaced smoothly with the Nightshade's systems, projecting a holographic display that filled the chamber. Star charts, surveillance footage, and encrypted communications swirled around them. By the void, Sarah whispered as the data unfolded. They're building a fleet. Clara nodded grimly. Hidden shipyards in dark space. Weapons we've never seen before. The Shadowers work for a group called the Ascendancy, true believers who think advanced species have a right to rule the galaxy. They've infiltrated every major power, including the Lysarian Collective. The holographic display shifted to show massive warships under construction. Sarah's tactical implants analyzed their capabilities. They were decades beyond anything Earth's intelligence suggested existed. How long? Sarah asked. 6 months, perhaps less. Once the fleet launches, they'll target developing worlds first. Earth included. Clara's voice cracked. My people tried to warn others, but the Ascendancy's influence runs deep. They branded us traitors, hunted us down one by one. A proximity alert cut through their discussion. Sarah's cybernetic eye immediately linked with the ship's sensors. 3 vessels just dropped out of hyperspace. Ascendancy signatures. Impossible. Clara exclaimed. This route was secure. Sarah was already moving to the bridge, her mind racing through combat scenarios. They must have a tracker on you. Strip down, check everything, even implants. As Clara searched herself, Sarah took manual control of the Nightshade. The pursuing ships were sleek predators, built for speed and killing. Standard tactics wouldn't work. Found it. Clara called out. It's in my diplomatic seal. They must have. An energy beam lanced past the Nightshade's bow, a warning shot. A cold voice filled their communications channel. Surrender the Diplomat and the crystal, Commander Chen. The Ascendancy is willing to be generous. We'll even overlook your illegal cybernetics. Sarah's response was to cut power to all non-essential systems and dive toward a nearby asteroid field. The Nightshade's superior maneuverability would give them an advantage in the chaos. They're launching fighters, Clara reported, strapping into the co-pilot's seat. 8, no, 12 of them. Sarah grinned. Perfect. Watch this. She activated a sequence she'd hoped never to use. Throughout the ship, hidden weapon ports opened. The Nightshade's innocent freighter appearance dissolved, revealing its true nature as a state-of-the-art combat vessel. The fighters swooped in, expecting easy prey. Instead, they met a storm of advanced countermeasures and precision fire. 3 fighters disappeared in balls of plasma before they could react. The others scattered, trying to regroup. You turned a freighter into a warship, Clara said in awe. Rule 1 of humanity, nothing is ever what it seems. Sarah threw the ship into a complex series of maneuvers, using the asteroids as cover. We've got more surprises for them. The larger Ascendancy vessels held back, trying to herd the Nightshade toward a gravity well. Sarah recognized the tactic. They wanted to disable the ship, not destroy it. That was their mistake. Hold on to something, she warned, then triggered her master plan. Specially modified mining charges, hidden among the asteroids during previous trading runs, detonated in sequence. The explosion chain created a devastating debris field, shredding the remaining fighters and forcing the capital ships to raise their shields. In that moment of confusion, Sarah activated the Nightshade's experimental phase drive, another piece of impossible human technology. The ship briefly existed in multiple quantum states at once, passing through solid matter like a ghost. They emerged from the asteroid field unscathed, leaving their pursuers trapped in the chaos. Before the Ascendancy vessels could recover, the Nightshade vanished into hyperspace. That was incredible, Clara breathed once they were safe. But they'll keep coming. Sarah nodded, already plotting their next move. Which is why we're not running anymore. Those ships back there? They were confident, sloppy. They didn't expect resistance. We're going to use that. She brought up a holographic map of the sector. The crystal showed their shipyards. Instead of running, we're going to hit them where it hurts. But first, we need help. The Earth authorities? Clara suggested. Sarah shook her head. Too many possible ascendancy infiltrators. No, we need people I trust. Other retired operatives like me. Humans who've been preparing for a day like this. Clara studied Sarah's determined expression. Why? Why risk everything for a fight that isn't yours? Because that's what humans do, Sarah replied, setting course for a hidden rendezvous point. When we see bullies trying to rule through fear, we stand up. When someone says something's impossible, we prove them wrong. The ascendancy thinks humanity is primitive, weak. Time to show them how wrong they are. As the nightshade streaked through hyperspace, Sarah sent out encrypted messages to old comrades. A war was coming, whether the galaxy was ready or not. But if the ascendancy thought humanity would be an easy target, they were in for a shocking awakening. Get some rest, Sarah told Clara. Tomorrow, we start planning our counterattack. And trust me, they won't see it coming. The diplomat nodded, her fear gradually being replaced by hope. She'd sought out humanity as a last resort, expecting to find simple warriors. Instead, she discovered something far more dangerous, a species that thrived on overcoming impossible odds. The ascendancy was about to learn why you should never underestimate humans, especially ones with nothing left to lose. The secret base on Nexus 7 looked like just another abandoned mining facility, carved into an asteroid. But as the nightshade approached, heavily encrypted recognition signals passed between ship and station. Hidden weapon systems tracked their approach, then powered down as Sarah's credentials were verified. This is where Earth's real defense force operates from? Clara asked, watching as massive camouflaged doors opened in the asteroid's surface. One of many, Sarah replied, guiding the ship into a vast hangar. After first contact, Earth's governments publicly focused on diplomacy. Privately, we prepared for the worst. Inside, the hangar held a dozen ships similar to the Nightshade, civilian vessels modified for combat. Teams of technicians worked on advanced weapons and systems that officially didn't exist. As they docked, Sarah spotted familiar faces among the crew. "Welcome to the Ghost Fleet," she said, leading Clara down the boarding ramp. "Every person here is officially retired, dead, or never existed in the first place." 3 figures approached them. Major James Wong, his dark eyes sharp despite his artificial legs. Dr. Elena Petrov, the cybernetics genius who'd given Sarah her enhanced capabilities. And Commander Marcus Davis, Sarah's old squad leader, now more machine than man after a mission gone wrong. "You've stirred up quite a hornet's nest, Chen," Marcus said by way of greeting. "Our deep cover agents report the ascendancy is in chaos. They never expected their shadowers to fail. Then they're going to hate what comes next." Sarah activated a holographic display showing the data from Clara's crystal. "We've got locations of their shipyards, command centers, and supply lines. Time to show them humanity's been playing the long game." The next few hours were spent in intense planning. Clara watched in amazement as the humans dissected the Ascendancy's operations with cold efficiency. Every weakness was noted, every advantage calculated. "Their biggest shipyard is here," Elena pointed to a distant star system. "Heavily defended, but their arrogance makes them vulnerable. They rely too much on advanced technology." "Technology can be hacked," James added, his cybernetic hands manipulating the hologram. "We've been gathering their codes and protocols for years. They think their systems are unbreakable." Sarah smiled. "Time to prove them wrong. But first, we need to send a message. Something to shake their confidence." "I have just the thing," Marcus said. He brought up details of an Ascendancy research facility. "They're developing new weapons there. Think it's time for some field testing?" The plan came together quickly. 3 ships would attack the facility, using techniques the Ascendancy thought impossible. While they were focused on that, Sarah and Clara would lead a team to infiltrate one of their command centers. "This is suicide," Clara protested during the final briefing. "Their security is based on predictable patterns," Elena interrupted. "They think in straight lines." "Humans?" She grinned. "We specialize in chaos." The attack began 12 hours later. The Nightshade led 2 other ships toward the research facility, their advanced stealth systems making them invisible to conventional sensors. As they approached, Sarah activated a new weapon. Elena had developed a quantum disruption field that turned the facility's own defenses against it. Alarms blared as security systems went haywire. Automated turrets fired on friendly ships. Shield generators protected empty space while leaving vital areas exposed. In the confusion, precision strikes from the Ghost Fleet ships reduced the facility to rubble. "Phase 1 complete," Sarah reported as they retreated. "How's our little surprise package?" "Delivered," James confirmed. Hidden in the debris, thousands of microscopic robots were already infiltrating the Ascendancy's network. Each carried a fragment of a virus designed to exploit their overconfidence in their technology. The real shock came 3 days later. As Sarah and her team prepared to infiltrate the command center, reports flooded in. Throughout Ascendancy space, their supposedly unhackable systems were failing. Ships lost power. Communications collapsed. Secret bases suddenly appeared on public networks. "They're scrambling to contain the damage," Clara reported, monitoring their communications. "But they don't understand how it's happening. Their experts say it should be impossible." "Impossible is just another word for hasn't been done by humans yet," Sarah replied. She turned to her team, all equipped with technology that blended human ingenuity with stolen Ascendancy designs. "Ready to make the impossible happen again?" The infiltration went smoother than expected. The Ascendancy's forces were so focused on their failing technology that they never expected a physical assault. Sarah's team moved like ghosts through the command center, planting devices that would give them control of the entire network. But in the central control room, they found something unexpected. Displayed on massive screens was evidence of an even larger threat. The Ascendancy was just a puppet for something far more ancient and dangerous. "By the void," Clara whispered, her skin pale. "Those symbols, they're from the dead worlds. Planets that went dark thousands of years ago." Sarah's cybernetic eye recorded everything while her tactical implants analyzed the patterns. Whatever destroyed those worlds is still out there. The Ascendancy found their technology, tried to use it. And now it's using them, Marcus added grimly. "This goes beyond just protecting Earth or the Lysarians." The facility's lights suddenly turned red as new alarms sounded. On the screens, something massive was awakening in deep space, something that made the Ascendancy's fleet look primitive by comparison. "Time to go," Sarah ordered, but her mind was already racing ahead. The Ghost Fleet had been prepared to fight the Ascendancy. But this? This would require something more. It would require all of humanity's creativity, determination, and willingness to defy the impossible. As they fought their way back to their ships, Sarah made a decision. "Clara, we need to contact every species threatened by the Ascendancy. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when humanity stops hiding and starts leading." The Diplomat nodded, understanding dawning in her eyes. "You're going to form an alliance." "Better," Sarah replied as they reached the Nightshade. "We're going to teach them how to fight like humans. Because whatever's coming, it's never faced anything like us before." The real war was just beginning, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why you should never, ever underestimate the species that turned impossible into a challenge. The command center of Earth's secret space station, Prometheus, hummed with activity. Representatives from 12 alien species crowded around a massive holographic display, watching as Sarah demonstrated human battle tactics. "Your civilizations have superior technology," she explained, her cybernetic eye projecting additional data into the display. "But you fight like machines, predictable, linear. That's exactly what our enemy expects. Clara stood beside her, having become humanity's strongest advocate. 3 weeks ago, I thought my people were doomed. Now look. She gestured to where Lysarian warriors trained alongside humans, learning to blend advanced technology with unpredictable strategy. The alliance was growing stronger each day, but time was running out. Deep space sensors detected massive energy signatures approaching from the dead world's ancient machines awakening after millennia of dormancy. The Ascendancy thought they could control this power, Marcus reported during the emergency council meeting. Instead, they became its puppets. These machines don't just want conquest, they want to harvest all sentient life for their computational networks. How do you fight something that's been perfecting warfare for thousands of years? Asked a Centaurian delegate, their crystalline form shimmering with anxiety. Sarah's response was pure human confidence, by doing something they've never seen before. She activated a new hologram, showing schematics that made even Clara gasp. Project Prometheus, Sarah announced. While the galaxy thought we were primitive, we were combining human ingenuity with pieces of advanced technology. Creating hybrid weapons that no AI can predict, because they don't follow conventional logic. The display showed ships that could phase through solid matter, weapons that manipulated probability itself, and defense systems that adapted faster than any computer could calculate. Impossible, whispered a vegan scientist. The energy requirements alone. Already solved, Elena interrupted, stepping forward. We don't just copy alien technology, we improve it. Make it work in ways it was never designed for. That's humanity's real strength. The demonstration was interrupted by urgent alerts. The Ascendancy's remaining fleet was on the move, escorting something massive toward populated space. They're bringing their master online early, Marcus growled. We're out of time. Sarah took command naturally, her enhanced mind already formulating strategies. Good. Time to show them what humanity's been preparing for. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. The Alliance fleet assembled, each ship retrofitted with human modifications that defied conventional physics. Sarah commanded from the Nightshade, now upgraded with technology that made its previous capabilities look primitive. Clara watched in amazement as human crews worked alongside aliens, teaching them to think creatively, to improvise, to embrace chaos as a weapon. I still don't understand how you can be so confident, she said to Sarah as they prepared for battle. The enemy has advantages in every measurable category. Sarah smiled, checking her neural links to the fleet's systems. That's just it, they measure everything. They calculate, analyze, and predict. But humans? We dream. We imagine. We do things just because someone said we couldn't. The first battle proved her point. The Ascendancy's forces attacked in perfect formation, their tactics optimized by millennia of machine learning. They never stood a chance. Human-modified ships phased through their perfect defenses. Probability weapons turned their own firepower against them. And when they attempted to adapt, they found their algorithms confused by strategies that purposely defied logic. This is impossible, screamed an Ascendancy commander over an open channel. Your weapons violate fundamental laws of physics. Laws are made to be broken, Sarah replied, leading a squadron through a maneuver that should have torn their ships apart. Instead, they emerged behind the enemy fleet, striking critical systems before the AI could compute a response. But victory came with a price. The ancient machine entity, awakened too early, lashed out with weapons that bent reality itself. Several allied ships were erased from existence. Others emerged from temporal distortions aged thousands of years or reverted to raw materials. Fall back, Sarah ordered as the massive construct approached. It was larger than a moon, its surface crawling with technology so advanced it appeared organic. All ships, implement Protocol Omega. Clara watched in horror as the machine entity opened like a blooming flower, revealing a core of pure energy. What is that? The end of everything, Sarah replied grimly. Unless we end it first. She activated her neural link, connecting to every human-modified ship in the fleet. All units, prepare for synchronized chaos protocol. What happened next would be debated by scientists for centuries. Every human-modified ship activated their reality-bending devices simultaneously, creating a cascade of impossible effects. Space itself seemed to hiccup as probability weapons fired in patterns that violated causality. The machine entity, for all its power, couldn't process what was happening. Its perfect algorithms encountered paradoxes it couldn't resolve. As it tried to predict every possible outcome, the sheer impossibility of human tactics caused critical failures in its cognitive matrix. Now, Sarah commanded. The Alliance fleet fired as one, their weapons enhanced by human creativity and alien technology. The machine entity's perfect defenses, confused by impossible attacks, failed at the crucial moment. The explosion was spectacular, rippling through space-time itself. When reality stabilized, the ancient threat was gone, reduced to scattered atoms by weapons that shouldn't have existed. In the aftermath, as Allied ships rescued survivors and secured ascendancy technology, Clara found Sarah in the Nightshade's medical bay, being treated for neural feedback damage. "How did you know it would work?" she asked, still amazed by humanity's victory. Sarah winced as Elena adjusted her cybernetics. "We didn't. That's the point. Humans don't need certainty, we need possibility. Show us something impossible, and we'll find a way to make it happen." The Alliance changed after that day. Humanity was no longer seen as a primitive species to be protected or controlled. Instead, they became teachers, showing the galaxy how to think creatively, to challenge assumptions, to imagine new possibilities. "Ready to help build something impossible?" Sarah asked Clara as they watched Alliance ships begin construction on a new type of defense network. The Diplomat smiled, her skin shimmering with excitement. "With humans involved? I can't wait to see what impossible things we'll achieve next." For Sarah, it was just the beginning. Humanity had shown the galaxy their true strength, not in technology or weapons, but in their unshakable belief that nothing was truly impossible. The future was unwritten, full of challenges that defied logic and reason. And that was exactly how humanity liked it. 5 years after the defeat of the ancient machine entity, the Galactic Alliance headquarters buzzed with activity. The massive space station, built using impossible human innovations, served as a symbol of unity between species. At its heart, the council chamber hosted representatives from over 50 civilizations. Sarah Chen, now Admiral of the Alliance fleet, stood before the assembly. Her cybernetic enhancements had evolved, allowing her to interface directly with the station's systems. Beside her, Clara wore the formal robes of the Alliance's chief diplomat. "The human experiment has exceeded all expectations," Sarah reported, projecting a holographic display of their achievements. "The integration of human creativity with advanced alien technology has revolutionized everything from space travel to medical science." The display showed ships using modified phase drive technology to establish new trade routes, hospitals using probability manipulation to cure previously incurable diseases, and defense systems that made war nearly impossible through sheer unpredictability. "But our greatest achievement," Clara added, "isn't technological. It's philosophical. Humanity has taught us to question our limitations, to challenge our assumptions about what's possible." The evidence was everywhere. Species that once relied solely on logic and computation now embraced imagination and intuition. Ancient rivals cooperated on projects that defied conventional physics. The galaxy was transforming in ways the machine entity could never have predicted. But success had brought new challenges. Sarah's enhanced senses detected the tension in the room before anyone spoke. A vegan archon rose, their crystalline form refracting light. "While we celebrate these achievements, some of us are concerned. Humanity's influence spreads rapidly. Your methods are chaotic, unpredictable. What if this leads to catastrophe?" Sarah smiled, remembering similar doubts from years ago. "Chaos isn't our enemy, it's our teacher. Every species here has faced extinction-level threats. We survived because we adapted, evolved, embraced change. She gestured to the station around them. Look at this place. 5 years ago, experts said it couldn't be built. The energy requirements were impossible, the materials couldn't exist, the design violated dozens of physical laws. But we built it anyway. Because humans showed us how to stop saying impossible and start asking how? Clara interjected, her skin shimmering with pride. The chamber's mood shifted as Sarah activated a new holographic display. We've detected something approaching from intergalactic space, she announced. Something bigger than the machine entity. Our old methods won't be enough. The assembly erupted in concerned murmurs. Images showed a vast cosmic anomaly, like a living storm of dark energy, consuming everything in its path. Traditional physics says we can't stop it, Sarah continued. But since when have humans cared about traditional physics? We've already begun Project Legacy, a defense system that doesn't just bend reality, it rewrites it. The display shifted, showing massive structures under construction throughout the galaxy. Each one housed technology that merged human intuition with alien science in ways that still surprised even their creators. Impossible, declared a Centaurian scientist. The power requirements alone would drain entire stars. That's exactly what they said about the station, Clara reminded them. Yet here we stand. Sarah's cybernetic eye projected additional data. We're not just building weapons. We're creating a new way of thinking. Each of these installations will be staffed by mixed crews, humans working alongside every species in the Alliance. Because the real power isn't in the technology. It's in our combination of different perspectives, different ways of approaching problems. She paused, letting her words sink in. The machine entity failed because it couldn't comprehend human unpredictability. This new threat is similar, it operates on rules we barely understand. But that's our advantage. We don't need to understand the rules to break them. The next few hours were filled with detailed briefings. Sarah and Clara presented their plans, answering questions and addressing concerns. Some ideas seemed outrageous, using quantum entanglement to create pocket universes, developing weapons that altered probability at a cosmic scale, building ships that could surf gravitational waves between galaxies. But with each impossible proposal, more council members nodded in understanding. They had learned that humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't technology or weapons, it was permission to imagine beyond limitations. As the session ended, Clara found Sarah in her private office, looking out at the vast expanse of space. Remember when I begged you to be my protector? Clara asked, her voice soft with nostalgia. Sarah turned, her organic eye twinkling with amusement. You offered to be my slave. Instead, you became something far more valuable, a friend who believed in human potential. How could I not? You showed me that impossible is just a word for something that hasn't been tried yet. Clara studied the distant stars. Do you think we can really stop this new threat? Honestly? I don't know. Sarah's cybernetic systems calculated countless scenarios, each more improbable than the last. But that's what makes it exciting. Humans don't need guarantees. We need challenges. Give us an impossible problem, and we'll find a dozen impossible solutions. A priority alert flashed across Sarah's neural interface. The anomaly had accelerated, consuming an entire galaxy in seconds. They had less time than expected. Then we better get started, Clara said, reading Sarah's expression. Time to show the universe another impossible human miracle? Sarah grinned, already connecting to the Alliance's command network. Throughout the station, crews rushed to their stations. Ships prepared for deployment. Scientists and engineers from 50 species collaborated on technology that shouldn't exist. You know what the best part is? Sarah asked as they headed to the command center. Every time we do the impossible, we raise the bar. Future generations will look at our miracles as starting points, not limitations. That's humanity's real legacy, teaching the galaxy to never stop dreaming bigger. The alert klaxons sounded, marking the beginning of their greatest challenge yet. But as Sarah looked at the determined faces around her, human and alien alike, she felt only excitement. They had built something extraordinary, a civilization that didn't just accept the impossible, but embraced it. Whatever came next, they would face it together, armed with humanity's greatest weapons, imagination, determination, and the unshakable belief that impossible was just another word for not yet. The final battle was approaching. But this time, the entire galaxy was ready to fight like humans, with creativity, courage, and the certainty that even the most impossible odds could be overcome. After all, that's what humans do best.